Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. Let's get ready for episode 21, I believe, 21 of our Firebase 3 real-time chat application video tutorial. Now, in the last lesson, we went over how to upload video files inside of our chat app. So today, let's go over how to actually play one of these video files inside of our chat log controller. So without further ado, I'm going to show you exactly what this kind of looks like on my phone here. And if you take a look at the screen, I'm going to unlock my phone. And so I'm logged in as, let's see, I'm logged in as Sam Tarley right now. And inside of this chat log here, if I click on the bottom play button, you'll see that the loader will start spinning and then the video actually loads and plays. So nothing too out of the ordinary here. And this kind of operates very, very smoothly. Kind of gives you an indication as to the progress of the loading of the video file before it plays. So that's good. That's good. And if you play this one, you slide it off screen, it'll actually stop playing. So that's the implementation that I've decided to go with. And let's look at exactly how the implementation will go inside of our code. So here we go. I'm going to run the application, and inside of my app, what you'll see is the chat log controller that looks very similar to what I have on my phone, but we're actually missing a couple of things right here, and namely the play button, which is down here, is not implemented yet. So let's go ahead and implement the play button first. That will allow us to kind of tap on it like that, and then it also changes to a darker shade of gray. So good place to start. I don't normally like to start off too hard as we're kind of just beginning the video here. And we want to add this play button inside of the actual cell here inside of this image cell. And the way to do that is go to chat message cell, and let's take a look at what we have here. We have a lot of these components which represent the cell itself. So at the very top of the file, let's add in this button called a, let's see, what's a good name for it? Play button, like so. Let's move my microphone up. And I'm going to set it as a class button, like so. And creating this programmatically, we can simply create a variable called button, UI button, like so. Let's use this type constructor of system. And let's just return this button right here. So let's execute the closure. And this system type actually gives us that nice shade of gray. If you don't specify system, it's not as interactive in terms of pressing the button. Now, we also need to set the title on it by saying set title, obviously. And here we'll just say play video. And the state will be this normal state right here. So because we're adding this all programmatically, we have to set translates auto resizing mask into constraints to false. And upon doing that, we can actually add it into our cell subview hierarchy now by going into this init frame method. And what we need to do is, let's see, we need to actually add it on top of the image, right there on top of the actual image that's being rendered in the cell. So to do that, we're going to actually add it after this message image view. And I'm going to just say bubble view, add sub view. And this will be play button, like so. And to place this inside of the actual bubble, I'm going to center it exactly in the middle by specifying 4 anchors, right? So these 4 anchors, again, I'm sure you guys are pretty used to this by now. So play button will have a center X anchor that will be constrained to the bubble view's center X anchor. And then similarly, we will center the Y anchor constrained to bubble view's center Y anchor. And finally, we have to specify play button's width anchor. And I'm going to constrain it to a constant of 50. And also, let's see, height anchor will be that. Finally specifying active equals true on all of these guys. I don't know if you guys have forgotten or have tried to do this without these actives. It's kind of frustrating when you don't remember this step, but alas, Apple has decided to give us this active flag as false by default. Anyhow, you can see that the play button is actually showing up inside of these chat bubbles, right? So that's pretty good. And now what we want to change the play button, this little blue text right here. See, as I click onto it, we want to change it into the play button that you're seeing inside of my phone here. And that's actually quite easy as well, as long as we can get a hold of a play button, which is this button right here. And I'm going to open my assets. Next, let's drag in the play button here. And it looks like this sideways triangle is probably how I would describe that. And that button is actually just called button. So let's use an image and let's see, named play, I think it's called. And then button will set image to this image right here. And state will be normal. So there's a couple of things that are going to show up as incorrect, or yeah, probably incorrect is the right word. And I'll show you what this looks like right now with a play button. So first of all, the button is blue. And second of all, we have this little bit of the remainder play button text. So let's remove the play video text and the image right here. We actually have to set the white color as the tint color of the button. I'm going to show you what this does. Or actually, I'm going to show you how it will not change the tint color if we just set it like that. And then I'm going to show you exactly what to do to change it. Well, actually, I guess I'm wrong. The play button appears white, and I think if I tap onto it, you get that. So that's pretty much all you need to render the white play button onto the cell. And the one other thing to fix here is for some of these images, they're not actually videos, and moreover, the text messages are not videos. So let's remove the play button whenever the message is not a video. And how do we actually determine that? Well, if we go into Firebase and look at one of these messages here, you see that this video message, I know it's a video because it contains a video URL as opposed to these standard text messages. And some of the other ones just contain the image height and image URLs. So this one, we have to check if it's a video URL on the message. And the question now is, where do we actually perform this check as to whether or not the message is a video? Well, one place is to go into Chat.controller. And if I type in Control-6, use cell for item at index path, we know the message in line 298. We know what it is right there. So we can actually start checking it somewhere along the way when we're setting the message on this cell. So before I can actually check the property of, let's say, message.video URL, you see how it's not showing up. We need to actually go into models here, and we'll have to specify a new variable that is a string of video URL, and down in the dictionary constructor, we'll say video URL equals perhaps dictionary, and let's see that as string. So now we have a handle on this actual video URL down below. So with that in place, let's actually check this video URL guy somewhere, right? So the place I would like to check is somewhere right here. And what we can do is we can do something like if message.video URL is not equal to nil, we can say something like cell.playbutton.hidden equals, I think false is the logic. And if it is the else case, we'll say that it's true. So I'm going to show you how to clean this up in just a bit. I just want to verify if the logic is correct with the hiding of the play button. Sometimes I do get confused when the hidden logic is kind of inverted. So there we go. We have this play button only for these video guys right here. And all right, that looks pretty good. Now, to make this a little easier to follow, I want to simply convert all of this, I guess these 4 lines or 5 lines, into just cell playbutton.hidden equals message.video URL not equal nil. So it is hidden if that's the logic. So let's just remove that. So if the video URL is hidden, then, or the video URL is nil, then we hide the play button. Is that correct? Let's just see. Okay, that appears to be the right logic. So that's good. All right. Now, one thing I want to mention to you guys while I'm kind of here is I kind of need the message URL or the video URL inside of my play button somewhere. So let's see, where is my play button? So now that we have kind of these play buttons enabled for only these videos, why don't we add some interactivity whenever we hit on this play button right here? And we can do that if we go to the play button and say button.add target of self selector will be, let's see what we want to call our function, handle play perhaps, and the control event will be touch up inside. And there we go. So to fix this, let's create this function down here as a function, and the self is what it will complain about now. We'll fix that with a lazy var instantiation of this entire play button. So just to verify that this works, we'll print a statement of play video inside of the console below. And this is what I like to do as I'm developing to verify that my work is indeed working. So let's hit the play button there, and you'll see that, let's see, the console prints out the play video. So pretty good. Now, what do I need to actually code in here to play the video? The answer to that is I want to use something called an AV player, and I'll just call it player equals AV player. You'll notice that it doesn't autocomplete because I have yet to import AV foundation. And there we go. So we now have AV player available to us. And what do we want to use? Well, I'm going to use this URL constructor right here. And we actually need this URL from the message video URL right here. But we don't have a reference to the message object inside of this cell. So why don't we go ahead and look at chat.log controller, and I'm going to set the message inside of cell for item at index path, kind of like this, cell.message equals this message object here. So let's bring this line down here and say cell.message equals this message object. And we can't do this yet because this cell class, this chat message cell class, doesn't have a property on it called message. So why don't we create this message like so? And now it's should be just fine as we try to build the project. So let's see. Now the error here is that we're missing this URL object. Why don't we get it from this message guy right here now that we have access to it by saying if let let's see, video URL string equals message.video URL, and then we will close it off and paste this guy in here. Now, because this is an actual string instead of an NS URL, we can construct this URL, I guess, one of two ways. And the easier of the two, let me just do right here will be to put a comma at the end of the unwrap and say URL equals NSURL of this string constructor here with the video URL string. So that's how you would unwrap two things at once. And here we go. Let's just use that URL right there. So now that we have this player guy, what do we actually want to do with it? So player has this method on it called play. And if we print a statement down here, attempting to play video, and then see if this actually gets printed and whether or not a player is actually going to run. All right, application is up and running, hit the play, and it says attempting to play, but we do not see any type of video playing inside of our app. So, okay, got a nice notification there. And we want to actually start playing the video in here whenever we tap the play button. So how do we get it to work so that an actual video plays? Well, the trick is we can actually add this player as a layer inside of our chat message itself. So before this player can actually render video, we have to specify a player like this. So let's see, let player layer equals AV player layer, and this takes in this player object that we just created above. Finally, we can add it as the bubble views, add, let's see, layer. Is that how it works? Layer, add sublayer. I think that's what we need. And this will be the player layer. So if we run this, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it's not going to work exactly like you would expect. And if we play that, let me just see if this is going to give me anything. So I don't know if you can hear this, but the video is actually playing and it's not showing up in here because we have yet to set a frame on it. So if I hit this play button, if I can get some audio out of my speakers here. So it's actually playing. The audio is running, but we don't see the video until we specify. Let me see if I can just kill the guy. There we go. We have to specify the actual player layers frame like this. And this will be, let's see, bubble view dot frame, and we should be okay. So let's run this now and see if the video actually starts to render as we hit the play button. All right, let's hit that guy there, load up some video messages and hit the play button. So it actually kind of plays off screen like that, right? So why is that happening? Well, let's just see what's going on here. And I think what we need to do is we actually have to set this bubble view to the bounds instead. So let's just use bubble view bounds and hopefully this will work for us. All right, let's hit this guy there, play the thing, and see that the actual bunny bear there is coming out of his cave and is being rendered correctly inside of the bubble view. So that's how that kind of works. And if we play this and if I bring this inside perhaps, maybe even bigger, this is kind of what the video file looks like inside of the cell. All right. So the question is, what happens when I scroll this guy up and down? So if I bring this up, when I scroll this, you see how this text message actually gets the video, and that's pretty bad in terms of UI, I guess, implementation. So we fix that if we go back to this cell here and chat message cell, and just somewhere in here, you have to implement this method that resets the cell. So I'm going to put it right below handle play here. And if you implement this method called prepare for reuse, call super prepare for reuse, and this method right here, if you look at the documentation, you're supposed to provide any type of cleanup work whenever you reuse these cells inside of your table view or collection view. And basically, we want to remove this player object every time we recycle this cell. So inside of here, we will just have to call something like player layer dot remove from super layer or something. I don't remember exactly what the method is called, but essentially we have to remove the player from the cell layer. So that means we need a reference to this player after we're playing the video. And to do that, we will say var player layer will be of type AV player layer optional like so. And then we can remove this let here and set the player to that. Use this optional to fix that there. I think we need to get a actual layer value with a bang right there. Finally, this we can just specify the optional question mark on the player layer. Now we are good to go in terms of reusing the cell and then removing the player from the actual cell itself. So here we go, app is up and ready. Let's click on this one perhaps and kind of wait for it to play. And then we scroll down here. You notice that the video is stopped, but then the problem is that the audio is actually still running. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is indeed running. So I think I've maxed out my volume already, but the audio is definitely playing, and to stop it from playing, we can either hit the stop button here, and we need to call player.pause if we want to actually stop the video. So I'm going to call player.pause inside of prepare for reuse. And the issue is similar to before. We don't have a reference to this player outside of this method, so let's create it right above here. Let's call it AV player, optional there. Remove this let guy here, and I think I need to use a question mark there and a question mark there. So I'm gonna play this one more time, or run it one more time. And whenever I scroll up and down, the audio should stop. So let's see there. Play this guy up here. And let's see what we get. So is he gonna start? Start please. Okay, attempting to play video. There we go. And he's playing. So I think I can turn the audio up if you guys aren't hearing it. So audio is playing, and if I scroll up, it stops. So the audio stops because every time we reuse a cell, we call player pause. So that's one way of stopping the video. And now the cells and the videos work pretty nicely in terms of, I guess, kind of playing the video and rendering all of its frames inside of your ChatLog controller. The remaining step is to actually implement a loader or like a spinner that indicates when the video is trying to fetch the stream from the Firebase storage file right here somewhere inside of Message Movies. And the way to do that is, so let me just show you what it kind of looks like on my phone here. So the very top, if I hit this play button on the very top there, you see a little spinner, and I will show you guys how to implement that right now. So moving this guy away, the spinner is actually a component inside of UIKit called a, it's called a UI activity indicator view. So let me just type this out, UI activity indicator view. And let's just create this programmatically. Again, I'm going to call the variable AIV for activity indicator view, obviously. And let's just use activity indicator view. And we have to specify this activity indicator style of white large. And I'm going to return it right there. And here we go. So let's execute the closure and get our indicator view just like that. Now, because we are doing this programmatically again, we have to set this mask into constraints property to false yet again. And here we go. Let's get it into view of our application inside of the cell. So to do that, we want to put it, I'm going to put it on top of the play button, which means that I will, let's see, play button. So I am going to just copy and paste all this in the interest of time. I normally don't like to copy and paste, but this is what I will do because I know the constraints are pretty much exactly the same as the play button. It's going to be centered right on top of the cell. So I'm running the application, and you're not going to see the rendering of the indicator view, I do not think. And the reason is because, let's see, how can I show you guys this? Okay, here is why. So activity indicator view, it is going to hide when it is stopped. So hides when stopped is true by default if you look at the documentation there. And what you have to do is you actually have to call this method on it called start animating. And when it's animating, that means that it is running, so it's not stopped. So it'll be actually visible inside of your cell. And what this means is each one of these cells get its own indicator view that's running by default if you if you call start animating in the beginning. So to make this easier on us, I'm going to hide it by default by just removing start animating. And perhaps we'll just keep that true there. It's not really going to affect the application at all, but just know that the view by default is not being rendered. So click there, we don't see the activity indicator view. So when do we actually want to show it? Well, that's an easy decision. We want to show it every time we hit the play button. And the play button calls this action called handle play. And every time we are inside of here, so we are playing the video right here, we will just call activity indicator view start animating. So that's going to cause the spinner, the spinning loader guy, to actually render in view, and it'll be visible for us. So let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna hit the play button. You kind of see a small loader spinning right around. So you see how it kind of shows up there as well. So we'll have to fix that a little bit later, and it's kind of there. All right, so how do we hide this play button after we hit the play? Well, it's pretty easy. We can just say play button dot hidden equals true. That will hide the play button every time we initiate the stream for our video file. And that will look like this here. So hit the play and we get the spinner, and then we get the actual rendering of the video. All right. So that's quite good. And how do we fix it so that every time we scroll up and down that this loader should actually not appear? So instead of prepare for reuse, we can just simply call activity indicator view stop animating. That will just hide it every time we are recycling this cell. All right, let's see, what else do we want to do here? Let's take a look at this and this here. So it plays or waits until it can play, and then we scroll up and down, and you notice how the indicator view is no longer showing up. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's quite good. So one thing I do notice is that when I tap on this guy, it kind of still animates out when it's a video file. And you can actually perhaps animate the video player into the middle of the screen there. But to make things a little bit simpler, let's just disable the zoom whenever it is a video file by going into chat message cell, and there's like a function called handle zoom. So handle zoom tap is whenever we tap on this image guy here. And if we just do a simple check of if message.video URL is not equal to nil, we'll just return out of the function. This means that for videos, we don't initiate the zooming animation. And that will be something that is, good for user consistency of our video. So clicking on here, that does not do anything for us. So that is quite good. Now the remaining task is to, I guess if you want to really be precise about these video players here, you kind of actually want to, let me just turn down the audio for audio's sake. You probably want to render back the initial state of this video player so that you can hit the play button again. And what this means is that you kind of have to know when this this video file is done playing. So the way to do that is a little bit more work. And perhaps I'll go through how to do that in another video. But make sure to either look up how to do that or wait for the next episode. All right, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you enjoyed today's lesson, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. In the next lesson, we are going to take a look at how to delete a message from our chat application. This is going to involve some manipulation of nodes inside a Firebase database, so definitely do not miss out on that video. Finally, if you want to download the project for today's video, go ahead and click on the link on the screen or in the description below. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time.